What would you think if you ordered plants for your garden from a company online and got nothing but dead sticks instead? Customers tell us a McMinnville business first exposed by NewsChannel 5 Investigates more than 3 years ago is still at it. Consumer investigator Jennifer Krause is here tonight. We're talking about Summerstone Nursery.
That's right. And more than 3 years ago, Jessica, the Attorney General took Summerstone Nursery to court trying to get the company to clean up its act. But the complaints haven't stopped, leaving some wondering why the Attorney General hasn't gotten involved again.
Denny Myers spends a lot of time, now that he's retired, working in his garden. And he was really looking forward to planting what he'd ordered from Summerstone Nursery in McMinnville.
This was a disaster.
Until it arrived, he says, wrapped in barely damp newspaper looking like this.
But every single one was dead.
We talked with Myers, who lives just outside Oklahoma City, by Skype. And he says the beautiful, healthy plants and trees featured on the company's website are not what Summerstone sent to him. Well, getting through to the company, he says, to complain was next to impossible.
When you called the first time, no one answered?
That's correct.
And you called again and no one answered?
That's correct.
There's no life in that.
But this isn't the first time we've heard this sort of thing. Our investigation more than 3 years ago first exposed how customers received dead plants and then got little to no help from the company. Hundreds had similar complaints, and the Tennessee Attorney General sued Summerstone. And as a result, the company agreed to change its business practices.
I think we've received a little bit over 250 complaints.
Now, 3 years later, the Attorney General's office confirms it's still getting hundreds of complaints, yet hasn't taken Summerstone back to court.
How many complaints does it take before the Attorney General's office will do something?
Well, there's not a number, but what we do is we follow up on it, we contact the company, we express some concerns, and along the way they've fixed some of the problems.
I think for a little while there's a little correction in the way the company operates, a lot of promises, but when peak selling season comes around, they're right back at it.
The Better Business Bureau says customers' complaints are about the same sorts of problems. And Kathleen Callaghan wonders why the state hasn't done more.
Really nothing has changed in the company's performance.
But Summerstone's attorney insisted in an email to NewsChannel 5 Investigates that, quote, Summerstone is doing an excellent job of keeping the great majority of its customers satisfied, claiming Summerstone Nursery shipped approximately 80,000 orders this past spring with fewer than 200 customer complaints.
Yet, according to customers' complaints, the company is still failing to answer its phone, is sending out dead plants, wrong plants, plants not as advertised, and is even failing to ship plants when promised. All problems the company told the court it would fix back in 2011.
How long do you let them continue to do these sorts of things?
But after we started asking questions like this, the AG's office visited Summerstone's office twice.
We have to gather evidence about what's going on, about the violations of the settlement, and go into court and prove those.
And customers like Denny Myers, who'd hoped for this and got this, say it's about time.
If you get that many complaints, somebody ought to be doing something.
Now, Summerstone has long refused to give refunds. Denny Myers says the company told him that if he sent back all the dead plants at his own expense, they would send him replacements during their next season. But he told us he'd had enough already with Summerstone, so he turned down their offer and went elsewhere to get his plants.
Wow, very frustrating situation. So where does it stand now? What's the Attorney General's office doing now?
Well, here's what they tell us. They say that after those 2 recent visits, when they went out to Summerstone's offices, they collected a great deal of records and files, and they are still going through it all, but so far nothing else filed in court.
Oh, well, we'll have to see if anything happens next. All right, Jennifer,
We'll
thank
keep you posted.